using what he got to shield him. He got a lot of security guards around him, and he in the limelight and stuff like that. But in certain situations, he wouldn't be acting like that.
Do you like him as a fighter though?
Yeah, he's a damn good fighter.
Yeah.
But like his core personality and his way.
If the opportunity presented itself against Floyd, you would have, though, even though you admire him so much and he's so great.
Floyd, yeah, because
Terence Crawford has finally answered Floyd Mayweather's 2026 fight call, and his reply was positive, showing he's ready to settle who's truly the greatest. Mayweather may be over a decade older, but he was the one who pushed for the fight after growing frustrated with constant comparisons to Crawford.
played the part.
Canelo said he's way better than Mayweather. What do you think to that?
Who, Terence?
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of course he is.
What do you want?
In a post-fight interview, Crawford was asked about fans wanting him to fight Floyd, especially with Floyd also showing interest. He responded that if Floyd wants to fight him, it's great money and an opportunity to share the ring with one of the greats, so he's in.
I am now.
How do you beat Floyd, though? Like, since nobody's been able to crack that code.
You think I would tell you?
He ain't fighting anymore. So that fight ain't gonna happen.
Mayweather felt compelled to call out Crawford, not only because fans wanted it, but also because two of his former opponents claimed Crawford is better than him, which seemed like a major insult to his legacy. Along with Canelo, Shane Mosley, who lost to Mayweather on points 15 years ago, voiced the same opinion.
When I looked at it, he came out in the southpaw stance and he took Canelo's jab away from him. As you know, if you take a fighter's jab away from them, then it's hard for them to really land. You force them to use one shot, and he forced them to use his backhand, his rear hand. Crawford was ready for the loop in the right hands.
Speaking to Fight Hub TV, Mosley made a bold claim, saying he believes Bud Crawford is actually better than Mayweather, though he still praised his former rival's talent. Mosley explained that Crawford is bigger, moving up in weight classes, and in his view, a more complete fighter. He acknowledged Mayweather's greatness, calling him very skilled and tough to beat, but added that Crawford would likely have the edge due to his size, reach, and overall abilities.
Who's better out of those two? Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. Like he's actually he moved in weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter.
Fans and experts worldwide have already started debating whether Bud can now be considered the greatest of all time after his victory over Canelo. The historic win pushed the 37-year-old back to the top of the pound-for-pound rankings. Canelo, who had hinted at his view before the fight, doubled down afterward, admitting Crawford was the better fighter. He made headlines at the post-fight press conference by declaring that Terence Crawford is a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather, saying, "I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather."
Can compare and contrast the fight between yourself and Floyd Mayweather Jr. and tonight's bout with Terence Bud Crawford, if you can?
No, I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather.
This statement holds extra weight since it came from someone who had shared the ring with both Crawford and Mayweather. Canelo's bold claim right after his loss showed either genuine sportsmanship or true belief in Crawford's superiority. His comments instantly stirred controversy across the boxing world. Supporters highlighted Crawford's willingness to move up weight classes and face top-level opponents, while others defended Mayweather's flawless record and legendary resume. Crawford himself pointed out that Alvarez's opinion comes from first-hand experience, telling Ariel Helwani, "Canelo was in the ring with both of us. People can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us."
You know, how did that feel to hear that from someone like him?
I just was like, well, it's his personal opinion. He was in the ring with both of us, so a lot of people, they can say what they want, but he's actually been in the ring with both of us. One where he felt like he was at the best.
Was ready for the body shots. Occasionally the straight right hand to the body would land for Canelo. But, sooner or later, Crawford started getting out of the way of that as well by just pivoting, on an angle and, making Canelo reach. There were spots inside the ring that I saw Crawford, try to...
Ultimately, this debate will continue because it's based on personal opinion. What's undeniable is that both fighters remain undefeated, at least for now in Crawford's case, were dominant champions across multiple weight classes, and will be remembered as two of the greatest American boxers in the history of the sport. Still, an intriguing discussion arises when comparing how Mayweather and Crawford built their undefeated records, a point raised by active boxer Ryan Garcia during a September 10th segment on Ring Magazine's Inside the Ring show.
You know, and another where he felt like he was at a disadvantage when he had a rehydration clause and he was younger. So, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't go off of that. You know, Floyd is the best fighter, you know, in his era.
After a discussion about Max Kellerman's belief that Manny Pacquiao should rank above Mayweather on the pound-for-pound list of the century, contrary to ESPN placing Floyd at number 1 and Pacquiao at number 2, Ryan Garcia weighed in. Referring to an article by former NFL player LaShawn McCoy praising Mayweather for changing the game, Garcia pushed back, saying, "In a bad way." He argued that Mayweather mastered the art of picking the right moments to face opponents, avoiding fighters in their prime after junior lightweight. Garcia acknowledged Floyd's unmatched ability to make money and secure major fights but criticized him for timing every matchup, saying it set a negative trend where everyone now tries to protect their undefeated record.
Money Mayweather.
He mastered the art of knowing when to fight somebody and when not to fight somebody. I mean, he's the best in that game. He's the best in, you know, making money and making all the, you know, the huge fights happen. But why? Because he was timing every single one of them. He never fought nobody really in their prime. He always
After junior lightweight. Junior lightweight.
He changed the game in the worst way possible. You're right. Everybody's trying to protect their own. I had
a lot of the stuff that Canelo was doing, and you know, that I would say this, that work from Boots helped in that aspect because Canelo was reacting to a lot of the counters that Crawford was throwing. Usually in the past, you know, Canelo would stand right there. He would lunge and he would stay in place, keep his feet in place. However,
Crawford's recent achievements have many questioning the established hierarchy, and the timing is ideal as he reaches the peak of his powers while still competing at the highest level. On his show Inside the Ring, Max Kellerman weighed in on the Crawford vs. Mayweather debate, drawing on decades of boxing analysis. He noted that Mayweather holds clear advantages over Crawford in several areas, including resume depth, defensive mastery, and hand speed, technical strengths that cemented his place as one of the most dominant champions in the sport's history.
Wild, because like if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring them. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first.
However, Kellerman highlighted that Mayweather grew more selective with opponents after moving past the lightweight division, often timing when to face dangerous fighters. While this strategy preserved his undefeated record, it also raised doubts about his willingness to face every challenger in their prime. In contrast, Kellerman noted Crawford's consistent eagerness to fight anyone at any stage of his career, a mentality that strikes a different chord with both fans and fellow fighters.
But then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, yeah, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with...
If you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. Floyd was faster, had better defense, and excelled in many areas. But after leaving lightweight, he became very selective about when he fought certain opponents. Crawford, on the other hand, even with a resume that some consider thin, consistently showed he was ready to face anyone. That difference matters to people. The analyst also compared Crawford to legendary fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson and Roy Jones Jr., suggesting that Crawford has now reached a similar level of respect among his peers, a status that goes beyond record books and statistical comparisons.
A lot of comparisons between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in a fight between Terence and Floyd, and I truly don't know the answer to that question.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that fight.
Yes, sir. I
Floyd
love you, Terrence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah.
Despite frequent comparisons between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, Bud has never tried to take away the 50-0 champion's rightful credit. Crawford has openly expressed his respect for Mayweather, and when asked about their similarities, he had more to add. Calling Floyd the King, Crawford praised and acknowledged his greatness. He went on to say, "We have a lot in common in certain ways, but we're a little different because I take more risks." Earlier in his career, he was also taking a lot of risks. It really depends on which Floyd Mayweather you're talking about. Are you talking about Money or Pretty Boy? Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy fighter. But then he started dealing with hand injuries, so he couldn't keep up the same power as he moved up and faced bigger opponents.
Excuse me, Crawford.
You know, right now, but earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, you know, it just depends on which Floyd Mayweather you talk about. Do you talk about Money or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was the seek and destroy.
Like Crawford mentioned, they do share a lot in common. Still, fans and analysts continue to compare the two in hopes of determining who the better fighter is. A recent source even leaned toward Crawford as the likely winner if they ever met in the ring. That said, when it comes to pure boxing skill, few can match the sweet science masterclasses Floyd Mayweather Jr. produced. His sharp jab, precision, timing, and counterpunching ability allowed him to dismantle a long list of opponents, and he managed to do it across two distinct versions of his career.
It's from the left hooks again. He's a lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him, and then he hit his head off it en masse here at the engine.
Just as Crawford pointed out, Pretty Boy Floyd was the more aggressive fighter, taking the fight to his opponents, while Money Mayweather later relied on calculated precision to outthink and outbox them. No matter which style you prefer, both eras combined to build the legend of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Meanwhile, fans remain amazed by what Crawford did to Spence in their most recent fight.
That's a hard knockdown that time with the left hook. How about that? Keeps battling, falling forward. How about that? Terence Crawford has stopped.
Whether it was the power jab he kept snapping through Spence's guard, his work in close exchanges, or the timing of his counters, Bud displayed exceptional boxing skills. It wasn't the first time he'd shown brilliance, but never before against an opponent of Spence's level. When it comes to pure boxing ability, few would argue anyone surpasses Mayweather. Still, Crawford's style is different, effective, explosive, and uniquely his own. If Crawford were to face Mayweather in his prime, matching his sharp, pinpoint shots against Floyd's disciplined mastery, the questions would be endless. Who would control the jab? Who would win the counterpunching battle? With so many possibilities, this category might best be left as a draw. Time and again, we've seen Mayweather draw opponents into the center of the ring, where he would read their moves, process the data, and then execute a blueprint to dismantle them. His ring IQ, combined with the mantra of hit and not get hit, carried him to the Hall of Fame as an undefeated 5-division world champion. Similarly, Crawford, having been crowned undisputed at both junior welterweight and welterweight, has consistently displayed a high ring IQ of his own throughout his career.
Between Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. We've even had the conversation to go as far as who would win in a fight between Terence and Floyd, and I truly don't know the answer to that.
I do.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah. Who will win that fight?
Floyd.
Floyd will win that
yes,
fight.
Sir. I love you, Terence.
Always figures it out.
Yeah.
Mayweather showcased tremendous hand speed, particularly with his counterpunching. However, Crawford's sharp angles and whipping punch delivery give him the edge in speed. Of Mayweather's 50 victories, 27 came by knockout, while Crawford has 40 wins with 31 knockouts, and he's still active. Adding to that, Crawford's masterclass against Spence saw him drop his opponent 3 times before securing a dominant 9th-round TKO.
You want to you want to hook from the hips. So when you hook, boom, this toe gonna go up and this one gonna go down. So you here and it's gonna go boom. So you can do a 45 or you can do straight. Come straight from the shoulders, boom. Open it up a little bit, bam. Get that, there you go. So, yeah, so you want to come, everything you do, you want to come from the shoulders, boom, just turn it. When you coming in there, you hear, boom, and that's where that torque gonna come from, the hips, your legs, all the way up in there.
Breaking down a power puncher and body attacker like Spence, who had dismantled Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Yadenis Ugas to become the unified welterweight champion, was no easy task. Yet Crawford made it look effortless, with his power playing a huge role. Mayweather, on the other hand, mastered the art of defense, using the Philly shell to raise his shoulder, absorb shots on his arm, and fire back with precision counters. Crawford also brings slick defensive skills, but Mayweather elevated defensive boxing to a near-perfect science.
The fighter, and that challenge for him pushed him even harder to train harder and to be better. That challenge, went up against Canelo, moving up 2 divisions, hearing that people are saying, "Oh, he didn't look too good against Madrimov, so how could he look good at 68?" Well, that motivated more, man. He trained hard.
So in the dream scenario of Crawford versus a prime Mayweather, how would it unfold and who would come out on top? After a cautious opening round where both fighters size each other up, Crawford would likely be the busier man early, throwing and landing punches, even if many are blocked or deflected by Mayweather's shoulder roll and tight guard. By the middle rounds, however, Mayweather's rhythm would settle in as he peppers Crawford with sharp jabs, gradually stacking up points and banking rounds with his precision.
Unbelievable. To young boxing fans that are watching Floyd Mayweather, you're seeing one of the greatest defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong. You're where and then he's nowhere. You think you... And again, it's not just hand quickness, it's the movement of the head. The way he rolls with punches. But the way he makes it miss. I mean, here we go. Through a series of punches and nothing really landed. Terrific fighter. For Mayweather. All right.
Still, with relentless pressure, Crawford's power could trouble Mayweather, even landing enough to hurt the legend at times. In such a close fight, Crawford's offensive skill set and whipping punches might sway the judges, rewarding his pressure and activity with a points win over Mayweather's defensive brilliance. And while Crawford remained humble after his career-defining victory over Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed crown, the boxing world isn't ready to let go of the debates about his historical greatness anytime soon.
I'll go from here, Henry.
He needs to rematch. If I'm Canelo, I want to rematch Terence Crawford. He got schooled, bro. He got outboxed, dude, by Terence Crawford. And I know that he's itching to get that one back. The first time he fought Triple G, and he came back the second time, and he legit beat Triple G.
Once in a lifetime fight. It doesn't need to be a rematch. I think Bud would do worse the next.
In a fight many believed could determine the best boxer of the post-Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao era, Crawford seemed to prove his case. With respect to Alexander Usyk and Naoya Inoue, he became just the 6th male fighter to win titles in 5 divisions, and the first in the 4-belt era to become undisputed in 3 of them. His victory over Alvarez, boxing's biggest star of the past decade and pound-for-pound king as recently as 2022, not only elevated Crawford financially but, more importantly, solidified his legacy at an even higher level.
Work on what you need to work on, put your head down and grind, you get results like this.
I noticed that when I was watching the fight that Terence Crawford specifically, whichever side that Canelo threw at him, Terence would respond with a shot from that side as well. Did you see that in the tape that you watched of Canelo as a weakness where he was vulnerable to shots at the same side that he threw?
Well, if you go back and look at the fight, you can hear us in the corner saying, when he go wide,
But when asked if he had matched Mayweather's accomplishments, Crawford dismissed the comparisons. Floyd was the greatest of his era, and I'm the greatest of mine. There's no need to compare, he said at the post-fight press conference. The debate, however, reignited just 15 minutes later when Alvarez, respectful in defeat, was asked who he thought was the better fighter. It carried extra weight since Alvarez, then 23, had suffered his first professional loss to a 36-year-old Mayweather back in 2013.
A little worse than that because that style of fight, I don't think he beats someone like Terence Crawford. But if I'm Terence Crawford, of course I'll fight him again. But this time, I'm the A side. I think Terence Crawford is going to be more confident next time, knowing that I can punch with this guy. I can take his shot. I'm faster.
He fought Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
He didn't do what the last two did, just run.
Crawford deserves all the credit. I gave it my best tonight but just couldn't figure out his style. He had everything, Alvarez admitted. I think Crawford is way better than Floyd Mayweather. Until the real fight happens, this debate will continue. And that's all for now. For the latest updates on boxing news, moments, events, and analysis, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our quality content.